It's episode 12 on Survivor Thailand, and previously, the final 9 players partook in the Survivor auction where Kaylee won a spa, Zaylin got a phone call from her younger sister, Chloe won immunity for the round, and most importantly, Morgan won a steal vote advantage. However, nobody else knew what the exact advantage was, so people from the majority speculated it was an idle clue. Since Morgan knew she was on the bottom with Jordan and Wesley, she came up with a plan to trick Zaylin and Liesl into thinking that Sabrina had an idol by claiming her advantage tells her which people have idols on them. With Wesley then exposing his idol to the girls to get them on side, the Hidden Daggers alliance formed to go against Sabrina and her alliance. At Tribal Council, the vote seemed simple, and there was even some heated exchange between both sides. Then, in the ultimate betrayal from Liesl and Zaylin, Sabrina became the third member of the jury in a 5-4 close vote. 8 people remain, and 2 rounds will be showcased this episode. We'll find out which 2 players get voted out this episode. It's night 25, and Koh-Lanta returns from Tribal Council. Morgan immediately thanks Zaylin and Liesl for following through with the vote, and Zaylin says no problem. On the other side of the camp area, Kaylee, Chloe, and Luciano stand around, and Kaylee says she doesn't understand the logic behind the flip. In confessional, Kaylee admits she's unhappy by the vote result. Sabrina just went to jury because Liesl and Zaylin flipped to the other side. It's questionable because Morgan, Jordan, and Wesley are much stronger in the game as long as they remain together. Chloe then says she's extremely annoyed that those alpha people are thriving. She's super disappointed in the girls, especially Liesl. In confessional, Chloe says she's gobsmacked and speechless by Liesl's flip on the girls' alliance. She just arguably screwed up everyone's games from this side, including her own. She's handing the game to Morgan, Jordan, Wesley, and heck, even Zaylin because that girl was never trustworthy. Kaylee then tells Luciano and Chloe that she is going to show these people what victim behavior really looks like, and she invites them to help her push the log benches into the water. Luciano and Chloe laugh, and Chloe says she'd love to help out. The 3 then walk over to a log bench, and Chloe asks Liesl if she can get up for a moment. Liesl then gets up and moves to the side, and the 3 then push her log bench towards the edge. Liesl and Wesley watch them, confused by what's going on. Jordan, Morgan, and Zaylin then walk back into the area and they also see the log bench getting pushed. Luciano, Chloe, and Kaylee then nudge the bench into the water, and Jordan asks them what the hell they are doing. Kaylee simply says they are just the real victims tonight, so they'd like to prove it. Jordan calls them idiots and crybabies, and Chloe tells him to shut the fuck up already. Morgan smiles and tells them they all just ruined their chances of winning this game. Nobody is voting them to win at this rate. Chloe then comments that none of them are making final 2 anyway since all of them are voting them out one after the other. In confessional, Morgan says she wants Kaylee, Chloe, and Luciano to continue their clownery because if anything, it just brings Liesl and Zaylin closer to her alliance. This is perfect for her and she truly sees a path to the end now. As a wrestler, you never give up, and you fight from start to finish. She has been bringing all of her strength into this game every single day, and thankfully it has paid off tonight where now she's in a majority of 5. It's day 26, and Jordan gets out of the tent and stretches. In confessional, Jordan says he feels pretty good waking up on day 26. He has a packed game that he can present to a jury once he makes it to day 33. Yes, he will make it to day 33. Today, he just needs to keep it cool with his alliance. The Hidden Daggers run this tribe now, and Kaylee, Chloe, and Luciano are the next ones to go. Unfortunately for them, that's just how the cookie will crumble, especially after their shenanigans last night. Jordan then walks over to the fire pit and looks around for the flint. Wesley then gets out of his tent, and Jordan asks him if he has seen the flint anywhere. Wesley says no, so Jordan looks around camp. Wesley says it might be in a tent, but Jordan says there's no reason for it to be in the tents. They always leave it on the fire pit. Meanwhile, Chloe looks around for a hidden immunity idol, and in confessional, Chloe admits she hid the flint from the tribe. Nobody will be eating today, and she's honestly fine with not eating because she'd love to get even skinnier out here. Oh, but of course, that would be detrimental to those muscle alpha players. They won't have the energy to win immunities and continue playing this game. She hopes they all quit in that case. How lovely would that be? As an hour passes, many people are at camp, and Jordan says he seriously doesn't know where else to look for the flint. Kaylee asks him if Morgan dropped it somewhere, but Morgan says she didn't. She always leaves the flint next to the pit. In confessional, Morgan starts to cry because she can't believe they lost the flint. But something tells her they didn't lose it. She wouldn't be surprised if Kaylee stole the flint due to bitterness from last night's vote. She has always been a bitter Betty, so it wouldn't surprise her. Morgan then asks if someone stole the flint, but nobody says a word. Jordan says it's putting everyone at misery, including the possible thief. They should realize nobody will be able to eat properly, including themselves. Kaylee says she doubts anyone stole it because she would have known if Chloe or Luciano did that. Morgan then says she hasn't seen Luciano and Chloe anywhere, so those two could be up to something. Liesl and Zaylin later chat together, and Liesl says it's strange being in the Hidden Daggers alliance now. She feels really bad for flipping on the girls and Luciano. Zaylin tells her she feels terrible as well. However, they made the right move. In confessional, Zaylin says she would be delighted to go to Final 2 with Liesl. The two of them know each other's games, and that's great for her. She can point to Liesl's flaws in the Final 2 and hopefully win the jury vote. Plus, even though she flipped sides last night, she's not sticking to Morgan, Wesley, and Jordan for long. Some of them will need to go within the next few rounds. Zaylin then tells Liesl that she thinks they should stick with their Daggers crew today and worry about them the following round. Liesl nods and says she's cool with that plan. In confessional, Liesl says she took a huge risk last night by voting out Sabrina, but it had to be done. She was worried about her, Kaylee, Chloe, and Luciano becoming a very strong 4, so keeping them for Final 8 would have been a huge risk. She's basically playing both sides in this merge, so she had to balance out the two sides a bit. Herself and Zaylin are playing the middle, and they'll keep doing that until someone tries to target them. Everyone arrives to the challenge mat for the next immunity challenge, and Justin says good morning to them. He then asks Luciano and Chloe to hand back their necklaces, so they head up and he takes them off of them. Justin then goes over the rules for today's immunity challenge. In this, everyone will be in their own tiny shack, and in each round, a random draw will determine one player to leave their shack and then knock on another player's shack. They will return to their own shack and the player whose door was knocked on must exit and guess who knocked on their door. If they guess correctly, the knocker is eliminated. If incorrect, they themselves are out of the challenge. The last two players standing will then need to agree on who wins immunity between the two, and if it's not agreed on, both will lose immunity and both will lose their votes at tonight's tribal council. With that, everyone enters their own shack, and the order is based on their names in alphabetical order. That means from left to right, we have Chloe, Jordan, Kaylee, Liesl, Luciano, Morgan, Wesley, and Zaylin. Justin then pulls out a random name from his bowl, and he heads over to Wesley's shack and opens his door. Wesley then exits and observes the shacks before choosing one. He then heads over to Kaylee's and knocks on the door. Wesley returns to his shack, and then Kaylee leaves her own. Justin asks her who she thinks knocked on her door, and Kaylee says she thinks Wesley knocked on her door. Justin claims she is correct, meaning Wesley is out of this challenge. In round 2, Justin pulls out another random name and then goes to open Morgan's door. Morgan then goes over to knock on Kaylee's door, and then she returns. Kaylee once again exits and calls the knocker scared of her. She says Jordan is probably the most afraid of her, so she picks him. Justin says she is wrong, and it was actually Morgan. Kaylee then goes to the mat, and then round 3 proceeds. Justin walks over to Chloe's door and opens it. She then comes out and decides to knock on Zaylen's door. She then goes back to her shack and Zaylen comes out surprised. Justin asks Zaylen who she thinks knocked on her door, and Zaylen says it was a pretty strong knock, so she assumes Luciano knocked on it. Justin claims it was Chloe, meaning Zaylen must now head on to Matt. Justin then proceeds with round 4, opening Morgan's door once again. Morgan then goes to knock on Chloe's door, and then she returns to her shack. Chloe leaves her shack and says she thinks Liesl knocked on her door. Justin says she's incorrect, and that it was Morgan once again. Chloe then stands on the mat, and Justin goes to open Jordan's door for round 5. Jordan then knocks on Luciano's door and then returns to his own. Luciano comes out and says it felt like a strong knock, so he feels like Liesl would try to frame it as one of the other 2 who knocked, so he guesses Liesl. Justin says he's incorrect, meaning he's out of the challenge. The final round then commences, and Justin opens Liesl's door. Liesl then knocks on Morgan's door and then returns to her shack. Morgan then comes out and looks at the final 2 shacks she can guess. In confessional, Morgan says she knew Liesl knocked on her door because herself and Jordan would have chosen to knock on hers, but this game is all about perception and being social. She wants Liesl to feel comfortable with the hidden daggers, so she decided to throw this challenge. Morgan then tells Justin she thinks Jordan knocked, but Justin claims it was actually Liesl. With that, Liesl and Jordan leave their shacks and they hug each other for reaching final 2. Justin then asks if they would like to agree on who should win the necklace, and Jordan asks Liesl if she wants to give it to him. Liesl admits she would feel better having the necklace because she doubts she'll ever win one again. Jordan then whispers if she's sticking to their alliance tonight, and Liesl nods. He then tells her he's putting a lot of faith in her tonight, and then he announces to Justin he's giving it up to Liesl. Liesl thanks him, and Justin officially announces Liesl as the winner of this immunity challenge. Once everyone is on the mat, Justin invites Liesl up for her necklace. Everyone claps for her and Justin places the necklace around her neck. He claims she will not be leaving tonight. As for everyone else, someone will be the 13th person voted out and the 4th member of the jury. With that, everyone begins returning to camp, and in confessional, Liesl says it feels really nice to have this necklace around her neck for the first time. Jordan knew she and Zaylen hold all the power at tonight's vote, so he needed to respect her and hand her the necklace today. It feels good to be on the top of the tribe. Back at Koh-Lanta's camp, Zaylen hugs Liesl, congratulating her on her victory. Liesl thanks her and says she is still in shock. Jordan then comes over and also gives Liesl a hug, and Liesl thanks him for trusting her with the necklace. In confessional, Jordan says there's a plan in place to take out one of the 3 people in the minority, that being Luciano, Chloe, and Kaylee. By giving up immunity to Liesl, that 100% locks in her vote to continue working with the Hidden Daggers Alliance. Wesley then walks up to Jordan and Liesl, asking if they should do anything about the bench the 3 pushed into the water, but Jordan says there's no point. There will only be 7 people here after tonight's vote anyway. Kaylee meanwhile then asks Luciano and Chloe if they want to head out, and they all then march out of camp. The other 5 then chat together, and Morgan then admits to everyone she has a steel vote advantage on her that she's going to use tonight. Everyone goes quiet, and in confessional, Morgan says she thought it would be a good idea to share she has a steel vote because she wants to use it tonight. Zaylen and Liesl won't have to know her other advantage was all a lie. They will just assume she found this steel vote advantage from an earlier ice cream reward. Liesl then asks Morgan where she got this from, and Morgan says the ice cream reward way back. Zaylen calls her very cheeky, and Morgan giggles. In confessional, Zaylin scoffs and says she really doesn't understand what she's doing wrong to have never found a single idol or advantage in this game. All the while, Morgan is a treasure scooper. It might just be a sign that Morgan has got to go tonight because she has way too much power in this game. Next thing you know, she pulls out an idol nullifier and then a super idol. Meanwhile with Kaylee, Chloe, and Luciano, Kaylee says their only hope right now is that Liesl and Zaylin will flip back onto their side. Luciano nods and Chloe says she could try getting to work on Liesl. If they get Liesl, at least they tie the vote. In confessional, Luciano notes that he has an idol on him from pre-merge, and he wants to use it to ensure his own safety. If he thinks the votes are going on him tonight, he will save himself. If he gets the feeling it's one of Kaylee or Chloe, unfortunately they will just have to go. He's a self-interested player who wants the money to himself, so screw everyone else, sadly. Before Tribal Council, Liesl finds Luciano alone and quickly joins to chat with him. In confessional, Liesl says she's thinking many steps ahead in this game. She's currently in a solid alliance with the Hidden Daggers, but she needs to make sure she solidifies her position in the final two. That's why she needs to keep a relationship or two intact from the minority, and she's interested in Luciano. Liesl then tells Luciano that she needs him in this game and he needs her as well. They both have a great chance to make it to the end if they ride it out together. Luciano agrees and says he's really glad she approached him. He was worried she was just 100% loyal to the Morgan, Jordan, and Wesley trio. Liesl then tells him that she can confirm he's not going tonight. It's one of Chloe or Kaylee, and he'll see the result. Luciano nods and thanks her. He then asks her if she's allowed to tell him why she flipped last night on Sabrina, and Liesl tells him she had an idol nobody knew about. She then retracts that statement and says Morgan knew because she had an advantage allowing her to see all idols in the game, and she saw Wesley and Sabrina have one. Luciano slowly nods and thanks her for telling him. In confessional, Luciano smirks and calls Morgan the most sneaky motherfucker out here. He knew all along, but for whatever reason, she's still in this game. She definitely needs to go soon, and he might just spill the beans to Liesl that Morgan is a liar. It's night 26, and everyone arrives to Tribal Council. Justin welcomes them all, and then introduces their newest juror, Sabrina. Justin then reminds everyone that this game is gaining speed as they reach the end game. He asks Morgan if these faster rounds make it tougher to survive, and Morgan says no. She actually feels very good about her current alliance. Justin smiles and asks Zaylin if the alliance is the 5 people who voted Sabrina last night, and Zaylin nods. She says she had to make the move last night with Liesl because they both knew where they stood on the other side. Luciano squints, and Chloe says she personally doesn't see what Zaylin and Liesl saw. But that's okay, they can always correct their mistakes tonight if they put their votes onto the trio tonight. Justin then asks Jordan if he's worried about any possible swing votes tonight, but Jordan says he's pretty confident in his crew. They all have a reason to stick together, so unfortunately, those on the bottom just have to deal with it. Kaylee squints and reminds everyone that there is going to be a jury at the end who votes for a winner. If they plan to vote the 3 of them out back to back to back, they have to remember that they will hold the power as to who wins. Chloe smirks and says she would definitely avoid voting Morgan or Jordan in the end with their attitudes. Jordan then calls it a bit hypocritical because they do the same to him and Morgan every tribal, but Kaylee says she doesn't recall. Morgan then asks Kaylee about the whole bench situation, and the entire jury squints in confusion. Justin also admits he's confused, asking Morgan what the bench situation is. Kaylee then speaks up instead, claiming that herself, Luciano, and Chloe flipped the bench off their hillside and into the pond. Sabrina laughs out loud on the jury bench, and Chloe says it was actually pretty iconic if he asks her. Morgan says she personally thinks it was just sore loser energy, but Chloe says she really doesn't care. They all have nothing to lose at this stage. Justin then asks Liesl if that sort of behavior influences tonight's vote, and Liesl sighs and says she just wants to stay out of the drama. Drama is separate from game in her eyes, so she's just focused on other things right now. Chloe then says that Liesl is a very logical and smart player, so she can respect her a lot more than the two beasts on the tribe. Jordan shakes his head and laughs to himself, calling Chloe a bitch. Chloe is in awe, calling him a gem. Kaylee then tells Justin that her, Chloe, and Luciano just want to have fun since it's basically their last few days in the game. Otherwise, this season would end off really boring. Chloe adds it'll still be boring, but at least this mid-merge portion will be fun to look back at. Justin then asks if they should then just get to this vote, and Morgan stands up and says not yet. Chloe, Kaylee, and Luciano all laugh to themselves, and Jordan calls Morgan a woman with many secrets. Morgan then hands over her steal vote to Justin, claiming that she can steal someone's vote tonight and cast it as her own little extra vote. Justin then asks her who she wants to steal from, and Morgan says Luciano. Justin then confirms Luciano won't vote. Morgan meanwhile will vote twice. With that, he prepares everyone for this vote, and Luciano looks down at Liesl in deep thought.
I'll tally the votes. If anyone has a hidden immunity idol and they want to play it, now would be the time to do so. Alright, I'll read the votes. First vote. Chloe. Kaylee. Chloe. Kaylee. That's 2 votes Chloe, 2 votes Kaylee. Morgan. Morgan. We're tied. 2 votes Kaylee, 2 votes Chloe, 2 votes Morgan. Chloe. That's 3 votes Chloe, 2 votes Kaylee, 2 votes Morgan, 1 vote left. Kaylee. We have a tie between Chloe and Kaylee. Everyone must revote between Chloe and Kaylee. Chloe and Kaylee will not vote. Luciano also cannot vote as his vote is technically still stolen by Morgan, meaning Morgan will vote twice again. It's time to vote. I'll get the votes. I'll read the votes. First vote, Kaylee. Kaylee. That's 2 votes Kaylee. Kaylee. 3 votes Kaylee. 13th person voted out of Survivor Thailand and the 4th member of the jury. Kaylee.
Kaylee refuses to smile and gets up to hug Chloe and then Luciano. Morgan and Jordan meanwhile smile, and Liesl breathes out heavily. Kaylee then places her torch next to Justin, and Justin snuffs it. Kaylee then says good luck to her people, and then walks out. Justin then tells everyone else to head back to camp, so they all start walking back. Kaylee's final thoughts. Kaylee says it's no surprise the majority alliance voted her out tonight. The steal vote advantage was a bit overkill, but at least it's out of the way for Chloe and Luciano. Of course she wants one of those two to win this game. Nobody else deserves it, simple as that. Heck, she's even pissed at Zaylin and Liesl for being such sheep to Morgan and Jordan. She might even consider voting the non-sheeps over the sheeps in the end. Koh-Lanta returns to camp after tribal council, and Morgan tries to start a fire without flint, but really struggles all night. In confessional, Chloe says fuck the flint. She's not giving it back to these freaks. They voted out her two besties, and now she's left with one. Her and Luciano are toast, but they won't give up yet. It's day 27, and everyone arrives to the immunity challenge area. Justin then calls up Liesl to return her necklace, and he takes it off of her and proceeds to explain the next challenge. In this, everyone will be in their individual lane where they must first hop into a body of water and search for a key. Once they find the key, they will need to go to their locked crate and unlock a set of balls. They must use those balls by throwing them up on top of each platform. The first person to land their 4 balls on the 4 platforms will win immunity, safe from tonight's vote. With that, everyone is in their lane, and Justin starts up the challenge. They all begin searching the body of water for their key, and Wesley is first to find his, along with Zaylin right behind him. Liesl then slips in the water and says ouch out loud, but she gets up and continues searching. Wesley then unlocks his crate first and sets all of his balls next to it. Morgan then finds her key, and Jordan finds his right afterwards. Zaylin then sets her balls next to her crate, and both her and Wesley attempt to throw their balls up onto the platforms. Meanwhile, Chloe finds her key and begins jogging to her crate. Wesley then lands the first ball on his platform, and Zaylin does as well. Morgan and Jordan then proceed to throw their balls after getting them out of their crates, and Morgan lands one first try. Luciano then finds his key and begins running to his crate, and all the while, Liesl struggles finding her key. Chloe unlocks her crate and sets her balls aside, and Morgan then lands her second ball. Jordan then lands his first, and Wesley lands his second. Luciano and Chloe are now throwing their balls up, and Luciano lands one. Jordan then lands his second, meaning Morgan, Jordan, and Wesley are neck and neck. Luciano then also lands his second, meaning we're at a 4-way tie. Liesl finally finds her key, but she walks to her crate, exhausted as ever. Chloe keeps throwing too short, not even close to landing the ball. Jordan and then Wesley both land their third balls at the same time, needing just one more each. Morgan lands her third as well, and then Luciano does as well. All 4 try landing their final ball, and after a few attempts, Jordan lands the final one first, meaning Jordan has one individual immunity. Jordan screams out loud in joy, and Chloe makes a disgusted face. Morgan hugs him and he flexes his victory. Back at the mats, Justin congratulates Jordan once again, inviting him up for his necklace. Justin then confirms he won't go home tonight. As for everyone else, someone will be the 14th person voted out and the 5th juror of the season. With that, he sends everyone back to camp, and in confessional, Chloe says she went into this round wanting to continue going for Morgan, but clearly Zaylin and Liesl refused to do that plan. So now, she and Luciano will just have to switch things up and target one of those 2 girls. It's not her own fault they have to do this. It's on Zaylin and Liesl for not flipping back to the good guys. Back at camp, Jordan says good game to Luciano and Chloe as they tried their best in the challenge today. Chloe asks if he's being sarcastic, and Jordan says he's being for real with them. In confessional, Luciano says it's not looking too bright for him and Chloe right now. If he had to guess, Chloe is the next to go because his connection to Liesl will probably keep him around a bit longer. Of course, it's a huge debate now in his mind of whether he should use his idol or keep it again. Nobody knows about it, not even Morgan, who apparently told a lie about knowing who has the idols right now. Perhaps this could be ammo for Liesl and Zaylin to finally flip on Morgan tonight. At the well, Morgan, Wesley, Jordan, Zaylin, and Liesl all chat, and Morgan says it's no surprise they have to split again. But this time, she's kind of feeling they should do Luciano. Zaylin and Liesl squint in reaction, and Zaylin says she was under the impression they were taking out the girls' trio completely. Why are they leaving Chloe in the game? Morgan says she just doesn't see Chloe winning anything. She got one necklace, and that was from an auction that required little to no skill. Jordan then quickly jumps in and says he might have to side with Zaylin on this one because they did in fact agree to vote out those girls first. In confessional, Jordan breathes out and says Morgan needs to watch how she speaks with people. She has a tendency to get power hungry and do what she wants. That will get her voted out if she doesn't stop, and she almost angered Zaylin and Liesl for suggesting Luciano when all this time, they were going to vote out Chloe. Meanwhile, Luciano and Chloe sit alone at camp, and Chloe says she's sick of this game and just wants to leave already. Luciano tells her it's not over yet. They can still flip things around. Chloe then tells him she doesn't see Zaylin and Liesl working with them at this rate, so they may as well campaign to Jordan and Wesley to vote Zaylin out. Morgan won't do it, so maybe the boys will. In confessional, Chloe says that in her mind, Zaylin is one of the threats for the boys. Morgan is too delusional to see Zaylin as a threat. She thinks Chloe Faith is a threat, but honey, that's far from true right now. She has no numbers out here now. They stripped all of her girlies. So now, she needs to talk sense into Wesley and Jordan and create a 4-3 vote onto Zaylin. Luciano then tells Chloe he doesn't see this plan working, but Chloe says it's their only shot. Luciano tells her to just stick to voting Morgan or Wesley tonight. They can talk with Zaylin and Liesl. Chloe tells him it's not going to work. She's on the chopping block tonight, so she's not going to try making a move that did not work before. In confessional, Luciano sighs and says it's actually getting irritating how Chloe wants to play out this round. If anything, Kaylee and Sabrina were the ones to talk sense into her, so now that they are gone, Chloe has gone mad, and he cannot control her. He'll just have to see what he can do with Liesl if Chloe isn't collaborating with him. Luciano later finds Liesl and Zaylin together, and he watches from a distance, waiting for Zaylin to leave. Zaylin then tells Liesl she's just going to stick to this Chloe plan, and Liesl says it's cool with her. After Zaylin leaves, Luciano hops in and asks Liesl what's up. Liesl then tells Luciano that she's still riding with him, so everything she tells him right now should stay between them. Luciano says he's all ears, so Liesl says it's Chloe tonight. Herself, Zaylin, and Morgan are voting for her. Jordan and Wesley will split on him. Luciano then tells Liesl that Chloe is insisting they vote Zaylin. She believes Jordan and Wesley will flip, but there's no chance in actuality. Liesl shakes her head and agrees that it won't work. She's just really worried now that Zaylin is a bit too confident sticking with that alliance. They will be in a 3-3 after tonight. Luciano then tells Liesl that it's actually not over for them. If Chloe goes tonight, he has an idol he can use on himself. Liesl's jaw drops, and she asks him if he just found it. He says he found it pre-merge, and Liesl's face goes cold. In confessional, Liesl says she was flabbergasted when she heard Luciano had an idol all this time. However, it doesn't add up because Morgan's idol revealer only showed an idol in Wesley's pocket and Sabrina's pocket. So something isn't right and she needs to figure out if Morgan is lying or if Luciano is lying. Liesl then says she's really confused because Morgan had an advantage, and Luciano cuts her off immediately and says it was all a ploy from Morgan to trick her and Zaylin into flipping. Liesl asks him how she can know he's not just tricking her right now, and Luciano says he would show his idol if he could, but his bag is in his tent. However, he will show her tomorrow morning. Liesl then quickly says they need to split up or else they will be too suspicious, but she'll trust he has the idol. At camp, Chloe sits with Wesley and Jordan, asking them if there's any chance they would flip on Zaylin tonight, but Jordan and Wesley don't respond. Chloe rolls her eyes, and in confessional, Chloe says she's just going to exit this game peacefully because she's a nice person. All of these other people are jokes and can go suffer without the flint for the next few days. As everyone prepares for tribal council, Liesl returns to camp, and Zaylin asks her if everything is okay. Liesl nods and says they are still good to go. She then whispers to Zaylin that once Chloe goes, they have great odds of reaching Final 5 because Luciano has an idol. Zaylin nods and thanks Liesl for informing her. It's now night 27, and everyone is at tribal council. Justin welcomes them all, introducing Kaylee as the latest new member added to the jury team. With that, Justin begins the discussion by congratulating Jordan on today's intense immunity challenge. Jordan thanks Justin, though letting him know it's more of a flashy piece of jewelry tonight as he would have been fine either way tonight. Chloe snorts to herself, and Justin asks Chloe if she's laughing because of Jordan's statement, and she says yes. She can feel this overconfident aura all around tribal council. Not just from Jordan, but from everyone else except herself and Luciano. Luciano adds on that it's basically him or Chloe tonight. Once again, the other 5 have been tight-lipped and refuse to make any moves. Justin then asks Chloe if it's frustrating to her that the other 5 aren't seemingly budging, and Chloe says yes. Therefore, she has been actually wanting to flip things around and make a move that might appeal to new people. Justin then asks her if she wants to share, and Chloe tells everyone she's voting for Zaylin tonight. If anything, she's the one who is playing the best right now, flipping from alliance to alliance and remaining in the good graces of almost everyone here. If people let her slide by, she will win this game. Justin then asks Zaylin what she has to say to that, and Zaylin says she's glad Chloe is putting effort into staying and isn't rolling over. Chloe rolls her eyes, and Liesl says she finds it hard to believe that anyone would want to flip within the 5 tonight. They've had 2 great tribal councils in a row, and now they can execute a 3rd. Justin then asks Morgan if idols make the alliance of 5 nervous tonight, and Morgan says it's something they all have to consider. If Chloe or Luciano play an idol tonight, the alliance has to make sure the other goes home no matter what. Justin then asks Luciano if he feels like there's any slim chance himself and Chloe make it out alive tonight, and Luciano says it's tough because it would require 2 idols for himself and Chloe to survive together. These 5 tonight can split the votes by putting 3 votes on one person and 2 on the other. Justin asks Jordan if that's a fair assessment, and Jordan says it possibly is. Chloe says it definitely is the case, so there's no point in hiding it. She knows they are splitting it on her and Luciano, and now it's just a question of who they are sending home. Justin then asks Morgan what the criteria is for the alliance's choice of target, and Morgan says it's a collective decision as to who has the best chances of reaching Final 2 and winning. At the end of the day, the 5 want to make sure they can win, and they can't do it with these 2 still in. The jury will always favor them over anyone else. Chloe tells Morgan it's never too late to make a big move. Voting out her or Luciano isn't a big move. Morgan doesn't respond, and Justin then asks if they are ready for the vote. Morgan says she believes they all are, and everyone else nods. With that, it's time for the vote to begin.
I'll tally the votes. If anyone has a hidden immunity idol and they want to play it, now would be the time to do so. Alright, I'll read the votes. First vote, Luciano. Chloe. 1 vote Luciano, 1 vote Chloe. Luciano. Chloe. We're tied. 2 votes Luciano, 2 votes Chloe. Zaylin. That's 1 vote Zaylin. Zaylin. 2 votes Luciano, 2 votes Chloe, 2 votes Zaylin, 1 vote left. 14th person voted out of Survivor Thailand and the 5th member of the jury. Luciano.
Everyone immediately gasps in shock, and Luciano nods and gets out of his seat. Liesl looks around in complete confusion, and Zaylin also keeps her jaw dropped. Chloe then looks behind her and asks what happened, but nobody says a thing. Luciano then goes to grab his torch, and Jordan lets him know he had no idea this was happening. Luciano then goes to place his torch next to Justin, and Justin snuffs the torch. Everyone says goodbye to Luciano as he makes his way out. Justin then tells everyone to head back to camp, so they all start walking back. Luciano's final thoughts. Luciano thought he had this game in the bag. He not only had an idol, but he also had an allegiance to Liesl, who has been trying to play both sides to survive through this merge. He genuinely wanted to reach the end with her, but either she lied to his face or something else happened that caused him to go home tonight. Clearly, the tribe did not expect his departure, so he's even more curious what went wrong with the vote.